What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Brainman Operations. Today we've got a mail time video. We've got quite a substantial set of packages to open here, and then I'm also going to take some EDC Q&As. I asked my patrons if they wanted to ask me some questions that they wanted me to ask and answer on the channel. So I've got some cool Q&As. Guys, this month's Patreon giveaway, I'm trying to get it to where I can give away one of these closed emitter red dots. I'm fairly confident I can pull it off. So if you want to join on Patience, the first link in the video description below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, it's the first comment. Let's open a package, take a question, like we used to do in the old days. Open a package, take a few questions, open a package, that type of deal, until we run out of packages and questions. This is from the fine folks over at EDC Gear. I've actually had this for like a week or two, but I've been saving it for this mail time. This is, you know, Michelle hates it when I have all this bubble wrap and things like that, because it creates a mess. And I always say I'm going to clean it, but I've discovered if I leave it long enough, then she cleans it. I'm playing 4D chess here, guys. This is the Ace Beam TAC AA, and it's called the AA because it runs off a AA battery, which I always appreciate because flashlights these days, nice size. I already like it. Flashlight, look at that tail switch. Flashlights these days run off very exotic batteries, and that's often a barrier to entry for a lot of people, because if the battery dies or fails, then it's quite pricey to get the replacement battery. But this sucker runs off a AA. I'm assuming you can get like a fancy AA, one of the high-powered ones that's going to give you more lumens. That's more than likely how this is going to work. But I'll definitely be giving this a look, carrying it and reviewing it, because I know a lot of people prefer smaller handhelds over the larger stuff. So huge thanks to the folks over at EDC Gear, everyone who sent me things in this video. I'm going to leave them linked down below. So one of my patrons, Dan Grows, asks, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. I'm busy looking to start my proficiency process. Do I need to be concerned about the current court case going on regarding proficiency? Well, at the base level, I think, you know, that is concerning, but start the process. You know, like the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to, the further down the line you're going to end up being. And the further down the line you are, the closer you are to getting the result you want. So start the process, get it going, get the documents submitted, do all the things you're supposed to do. Speak to gunlicense.co.za. You are one of my patrons, so DM me if you have any problems, and I'll put you in contact with the right people. But so on a base level, it's an issue, but there's nothing we can physically do about it. So let's just keep the ball rolling. So this is from the folks over at Fank Armory, and this is actually something that, man, this is something that a lot of people have asked for, and it's not really readily available, although it probably is going to be now, considering that I have it. And I will link Fank Armory down below. Huge thanks to Danru. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know how long it's going to take in the edit for me to show you this, but that took a solid 10 minutes to get open. What these are seat back organizers. So you put this in your car and this sort of wraps around your headrest, and then you can attach like things to it, like med kits, etc., for your vehicle. And they've been kind enough to send me 2. So I really appreciate that. This is, as I said, from Fank Armory, if you can see that over there. And they are like, they're metal. This is not plastic. This is a solid piece of thing. Hugely thankful. I'll definitely try them out and give you guys some feedback, maybe do a review on it, etc. Very, very cool. Okay, so 2 quick questions. One from Zach Hasbrook. Is it possible to get the inner belt of the core belt separately? And 2 from Sheldon. I've heard some EMT guys say that appendix rigs and car accidents operate gnarly with a firearm between you and the seat belt. How are you wearing your seat belt when you're in the car? When you are in the car, when you are strapped, or are you rocking the PP rig when driving? So I carry my firearm on my body. I'll answer. Well, let me answer Zach first. Zach, I've spoken to the guys at SA Tactical Institute. They are available, but they aren't in the country. But they did say if someone bothers them enough, then they will start bringing them in. So get you and all your friends to bother the guys at SA Tactical Institute. You can buy the new one separately. And then for Sheldon, I carry my appendix rig in my appendix position when driving. What I do is the best thing I found for comfort purposes, and I haven't been in a car accident with my appendix rig on, so I can't talk intelligently about that, is when I get in the car, I loosen my belt a bit, my core belt, which is why core belts are so great, because you can loosen and tighten them sort of on the fly. I loosen my belt a bit, and then I put the seat belt on. That causes less physical pressure when I'm driving, because the seat belt in its standard configuration isn't tight enough around my waist to where it's going to compress my gun and gun belt into my body if I've loosened my belt a bit. So it's not like as comfortable as not carrying a firearm, but it's way more comfortable if I loosen my core belt a bit when I get into the car. Give it a try. I'm sure you'll find it works out to be a bit more comfortable, say 30-40% more comfortable. As for being in an accident, it's hard to say, because like I say, I haven't been in an accident. I haven't heard that before, so I can't unfortunately comment intelligently. But I suppose it's just one of those things that you have to mitigate, where you say, well, I'll rather have my gun wearing a seatbelt driving my vehicle than not have my gun wearing a seatbelt driving my vehicle, because you've got to weigh up the possibility of being an accident, the possibility of needing your gun, and how you want to measure that. But that's going to be person to person. This is another red dot from, so before I say who it's from, the company Rock Optics, who sent this red dot, have gone through a rebrand. They're now called Acra. Same company, exact same deal, exact same everything, just a bit of a rebrand. And they've sent me another optic to test. I'm not even sure what the name of this one is, but this is obviously their closed emitter version. I'm very close to publishing the review of the Origin. So that's going to happen really soon. I have to be honest, I don't want to say anything. It's going to be out really soon, and I think you'll be very interested to find out what the South African guys have managed to pull off with this optic. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, we've got a ton of optic reviews coming on the channel and a ton of optic giveaways to our patrons. I like giving away optics. Like, no one says no to an optic. Okay, guys, we're running out of packages and I still have a ton of questions, so I might have to move some of these questions over to next week's video. Divan asks, what are your thoughts on pistol lights? I hear people say that they would not recommend carrying one, since you have to point your firearm at the threat, which might not be a threat, and that they would rather carry a handheld light. I get this question a lot, and I'm filming a video, or I'm putting a video together about it. Guys, this light and this light are meant for two different things. And because they are meant for two different things, I feel you should carry both of them, because you can do things with this light that you can't do with this light. And you can do things with this light that you can't do with this light. That's why I personally believe you should carry both. Now, let's talk about this light. This light is for information gathering and administrative tasks. So I'm coming home, or I'm walking from the shop, whatever the case may be, and I see someone standing by my car, maybe at 7, 8 o'clock at night. I beam them with this light, and I realize it's a kid looking for his tennis ball that they were playing with. They were playing tennis up the road, and they think the ball rolled under my car. No worries. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I hear a window break. Okay, it's just myself and Michelle at home. Michelle's on the phone to the police. I'm making a decision. Am I going to engage, or am I sitting in the room? Let's say for whatever reason, maybe there's a child in the house, maybe there's another person in the house that I am really need to protect, right? If you're a parent, your room might be here, your child's room might be here, the window breaking might be here. So you're not going to sit in your room and phone the police. Believe me, you're going to go and investigate. In that instance, I'm using this light, okay? Because this light allows me enormous amounts of control. It allows me, I'm going to beam my camera now, so if bright lights bother you, you might want to look away. It allows me to remove the visual horizon of an attacker, okay? Doing it again, boom, okay? It allows me to gather data. It allows me, if I need to have the light on and open a door, I can do it, grab a person, move someone out of the way, move something out of the way. I can do it while I have light. But most importantly, it allows me to function the gun with two hands on the gun. Michelle and I are doing a video about just this, and we're showing the offset in capability from this to this. Trust me, if you don't practice doing this, you are not going to be able to point a flashlight and a gun at the same thing. I'm telling you now, go to the range and just shoot with one hand and tell me about your capabilities. So these things are not mutually exclusive. People ask, these things are not combined. They're not the same thing. They both emit light, but in the same way that a tractor and a car are both kind of vehicles. They're not meant to do the same thing. So someone who owns a tractor still needs a car to get around. You know, the same concept. And if you want to know when to use this, it's a simple matter of when your gun comes out. If a situation dictates that you have to bring your gun out and it's dark, consider using weapon-mounted light. Now, I would say use your weapon-mounted light correctly, and that's where training comes in, because whether it's this light or your weapon-mounted light, lights attract bugs and bullets. Okay, so you need to know how to use it. But I'll tell you, I only under the most extreme circumstances do I not carry a weapon-mounted light, because I've done low no-light courses. I've done shooting in the dark. Shooting with one hand sucks. It is terrible, and your ability is dramatically reduced. You will more than likely miss. I'm telling it right now, especially if you're shooting at a moving target, you're more than likely going to miss if you're shooting with one hand. So this is from a company called Paladin Armory, and they make pegboards. Now, those of you who don't know what a pegboard is, it is probably one of the coolest things for a man cave. You see all these things hanging behind me. I don't know if you can see, I don't know how bright it is back there. These mount on your wall, right? And they've sent me quite a few. Oh, Michelle's going to be very angry. So, they've sent me quite a few, and then you hang your gear from it, and it's just a very neat and organized way to do it. And then they've sent me a shit ton of like different attachments. So Michelle and I, we love projects. So we're going to be outfitting this wall with those pegboards. I will leave Paladin link down below. I'll leave Phalanx link down below. I'll leave Mavgear link down below. I'll leave Acra link down below, so you can go and check out their gear. if you want to get your hands. All these things are locally available, so you can purchase them. I think it's going to make a pretty much a very nice aesthetic in the background there. Let's do one last question from Lyle. Would you be open to organizing a range day and bring along some of the gear you've been reviewing recently? Maybe do it as a random perk or prize for patrons to come hang out with you at the range and see and test gear for themselves. You know, Michelle and I talk about this often, like we want to do like a braai type deal. The only problem is we've got the situation where not everyone's in Cape Town. Not all of my patrons are in Cape Town. So we really took advantage of the canning day that happened this past weekend. And what we were saying is like the amount of people who came out to chat to myself and Michelle in Cape Town was insane. Like I wanted to film there, but there was no time. We were literally chatting to people who watched the channel the whole event. I think of the day that we were there, we were there for about 4 hours. I spent about 20 minutes shooting, and the rest of the time was just chatting to people. So what we're thinking of is trying to arrange, maybe even with Canik, where they have like days like this more often all around the country, and then myself and Michelle head out and like have a joint type thing. A joint day, Greyman operations and Canik day kind of deal. Listen, it's in its infancy. It's just an idea that's in our head. I'm not saying it's going to work. My only concern with doing it in Cape Town is, you know, yeah, it's cool, but what about all the other patrons who support me from all around the country? You know, there's that whole fairness factor. We've been wanting to do a braai or international barbecue for the longest time, but you know, my concern is if we invite patrons, then is it not only fair that we do a braai in their area as well? But I am trying to get more out to you guys where we can meet in person and chat and have a really cool two-way communication. From 2025, we're more than likely going to start pushing live videos where we can have like that open dialogue. But I do get what you're saying, and it is something we want to do. Guys, there was a lot more questions, so maybe next week I'll do another one of these because I am going to have more gear to open. If you want to have your question asked and answered, you know, or you just want to join and become a patron and get access to prizes like this, it's the first link in the video description below if you're watching on YouTube, and it's the first comment on Facebook or Instagram. Thank you to everyone who asked. I apologize to anyone whose comment or question I didn't get to. We will get to you guys next week. That's it, guys. Have a good week. Be safe. Try not. Cheers. God bless.